And, we get the New York news in Danbury, which is a federal women's prison in Connecticut. It's right around the corner from here,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
And so we would get the news from New York in
Mhm.
the TV room.
Mhm.
And we kept hearing about this, and a book came out, Michelle Alexander, and then one of our dear comrades. We didn't know her then because she had come and gone in the prison. But Piper Carmen
Mhm.
was a dear friend of ours now and really supports the work we do.
Mhm.
She wrote The Orange is the New Black.
Mhm.
And then Michelle Alexander wrote the new Jim Crow book.
Mhm.
And so we're hearing all this stuff. We're watching it on the news. We're like, damn, this is real. And then we were women. So up the hill and down the hill in the federal prison,
Mhm.
there were at that time 2,000 women in the prison.
Mhm.
There were 200 of us in the prison camp up the hill and 1,800 women down the hill, overcrowded as crazy,
Mhm.
nasty living conditions, the whole bit, not because of any reason why the women who killed themselves to try and clean the prison for us. But, we kept hearing all this stuff about Obama was in office. He started, to
Mhm.
work on getting people out and considering what that looked like. And then eventually he did the Clemency Project 2014. But he started to visit federal prisons, all men's prisons. And so
Mhm.
we kind of raised our voices and like, well, hold up.
Right.
Because of conspiracy,
Right.
because of the separation, 85% of the women in the prison were mothers.
Right.
They had been separated from their children.
Mhm.
And because of the reasons that particularly Black women
Mhm.
wind up on a prison bunk.
Mhm.
And so we wanted to make sure that we left there not only because we saw the injustices up close and personal, but we wanted to make amends a lot for the harm that we had caused.
Yes.
And so, but we knew that it wasn't just us.
Right.
We had to take the indictment off of us
Right.
and put the indictment on the system,
Right.
a system that has intentionally oppressed and controlled our people.
Right.
So I'm really happy that you came. How do you like to be addressed? Because you have a few different names.
Yeah. So my family name is Bam Bam, because I was always like, into sports and stuff, so kind of tomboyish. So
Mm-hmm.
you guys can call me Bam Bam because it's
Bambi.
like my family. So
Okay, I like that. I like Big Brooklyn too.
yeah, that's my
Have
street.
you
That's my
met Big
rap
50
name.
yet?
No,
Out of Detroit?
no,
Oh,
not
girl.
yet.
Yeah,
Not
you
yet.
got to meet Big 50.
Not yet.
Yeah, she's like the big sisters of the bigs.
Really?
Yeah,
I gotta
she
meet
goes
her.
by Big 50.
I gotta
But
meet
I'll
her.
make sure that you guys meet.
Yes,
That'd be a wonderful, beautiful conversation.
I would like that.
So Bam Bam, tell us a little bit about your experience with the criminal law system.
Would you like to know the good or the bad before?
Well, one, I just want to say there's no judgment here
Okay.
at all under any circumstances. We're all formerly incarcerated women. We have all been in the shits. We've done everything
Mhm.
and then done it again. So there's no judgment here.
Okay.
So when you say good or bad, I think it's all good because why? Because you're sitting here right now,
Right.
right? As the beautiful, amazing, very creative. I looked at some of your stuff. I didn't know any of you before meeting you,
Yes.
but just hugely creative. So there's no bad here.
Yes.
So, but there could be things that what we don't even call a crime, we call it a transgression
Okay.
because that's transformative language. You're never the same person. And you want to have an opportunity and you take advantage of opportunities, which we all have done to transform our lives and,
Okay.
and to not be the same people that we were.
Okay.
So take you whatever
Okay.
you think.
All right. So I'm sorry. I'm super nervous because I never tell my story because I feel like people won't understand, and they would like judge me. And like I said, I have social media platforms, but I told my wife that I don't want to do them because I feel like I would get so much negative, and I'm very sensitive. I'm big, but I'm sensitive, and I always want to tell my story of what happened in my first case, but I know that people wouldn't really understand and they would judge me, and everybody claim, everybody gonna say, "Oh, I'm innocent, I'm innocent." My second crime, I definitely did that. I was definitely not innocent. But my first crime, I was a kid and I should have listened.
How old were you?
14.
You were
Um,
you were a child.
yeah.
Hmm.
So my biggest thing was basketball. I done had dinner with Michael Jordan, Tiny Archibald, Kim Hampton was something like my godmother. I met Shaquille O'Neal. I went to Christ the King Regional High School. I had a scholarship for that. Um, I had dinner with Pat Summit, rest in peace. That's the coach for UConn. I wanted to go to Tennessee so bad.
Because of your ball, your
Yes,
balls. You
yes.
so
I
you're a
was,
baller. You know how to
yeah.
play ball.
I
Okay.
was number 11th McDonald's All American in the country.
Wow.
Um, my parents basically groomed me for sports. I did a little boxing. I did basketball. I did softball, and I did track. Um, I'm fat now, so you can't tell, but
You're beautiful.
thank you.
Yes.
But I was always broad, but I was a teddy bear. So when I was younger, I got picked on a lot. As you know, back in them days, black girls wasn't really pretty. I had nice hair. I had the clothes, but I didn't have the skin color.
Mm,
So I always got picked on. I got kids would like cut my hair, put glue on my hair.
mm,
They would beat me up, and my family would say, "Why you don't fight back? You stronger than all of them." I just don't wanna. I don't like to fight, right?
mm-hmm.
So I got kicked out of. Before I get to that, my father, he's very strong, right? He was something like a Black Panther. He's 70 now. He was like, "You gotta fight back. You gotta fight back." I said, "Daddy, I'm not a fighter." And he's like, "I put you on all these programs. I did. I don't know if y'all remember the Jackie Robinson
Yeah.
program, all of that. Like I did them after school part. I did karate. I ended up being a yellow belt, all of that. And everybody was like, "You can fight and you're big. Why don't you fight? Why you keep letting people beat you up?" I said, "I don't like violence."
Mm-hmm.
So one day, I would never forget this day. I was in seventh grade, and this girl kept bullying me, and I was a pretty black, she was the ugly black one. That's what I was saying when I was younger. And she we call her Icky Vicky, and she kept
Mm.
pushing me down on the floor, trying to spit on me and do things like that. I don't know what got into me. I just grabbed her and I threw her across the room. I just started punching her. She started bleeding really bad, and they had to call the people. They had to call security. And when I went home, I just knew I was crying because I'm gonna get a spanking. I just knew. When I went home, my father took me to the store. He bought me a camcorder and he said, "That's my girl." And I didn't understand. I was like, "Daddy," but he was like, "No, I don't want you to hurt nobody, but I want you to stand up for yourself. Like, stop being bullied." When I found out how strong I was, it was over after that. And I started to become a bully.
Meaning it empowered you in
It
some way to.
empowered me because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know my own strength.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to become a bully now because now I got respect that I wanted. I finally started being popular. Like all my life, like in school, like I was the eyeball out. No boys like me because I always wore straight backs or I wasn't pretty like the other girls. After that, people started showing me respect and everything of that nature. Um, so I kind of started changing, but I didn't let my parents know. So I lived a double life. They know me as my first name Fatiha, but I had two different sides. I had Bam Bam and I had Fatiha. My parents only seen Fatiha.
Mm-hmm.
So then I went to seventh grade. I ended up going to my 11. It was a great junior high school. I get kicked out because I started rolling with the kids from Tilden High School. My coach was also my computer teacher. One day I cut school for my first time in my life. My parents found out, so I had to go to school around my way. When I went to school around my neighborhood, that's probably was the worst thing for me because I got more and more in the streets. But again, my parents didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I still play basketball, so I played it really good. I ended up going to Christ the King Regional High School. That's a Catholic school. When I went there, I started doing my thing. I had an English teacher named Miss DeGenero. I'll never forget. Um, it was this Italian guy, this boy. He kept being fresh with me. He kept like rubbing his hands on my up my skirt, doing different things like that. I kept telling the teacher, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You know, just." One day, he touched my butt from under my skirt, and I stabbed him in his hand with a pencil. This is when my life went downhill, and I'm gonna tell you why. They kicked me out, and I was the best school I ever was in, and I was crying because they didn't give me that chance. Um, to explain that he was up my skirt. They didn't care that he grabbed my butt. They only cared that I stabbed him with a pencil in his hand and it made me look violent. A couple weeks before that, an Italian girl, I had a young boyfriend named Ricky. He was Italian, and usually Italians supposedly don't like blacks, but she was in love with him. She threw pizza in my face, threw coffee in my face, and smacked me. I went and told the teachers. They didn't suspend her. We was at the pizza shop. I took her and I threw her over the pizza bar. I ended up getting suspended. At this point, I was just done. They put me in summer school. I went to summer school. I went to Benjamin Banneker where I met this young lady. Like I said, I don't want to say her name yet. Because I still have a year order protection. It was a 10-year order protection and it's up next year. I met this young lady because we were growing up as friends. To me, she was the most beautiful, popular girl. She was blood. She was in 9 Trey. And she played basketball. She was captain of the basketball team. Every time we sat at lunch, people surrounded us. And she said, You want to come home?" I said, "What does that mean?" So you want to be blood? I said, yeah. Like, why not? This was 2007. I was in ninth grade, my first year of high school. She said, okay, come to the park. I went to this park, and it was a lot of boys and girls there with all these red flags. And I'm confused, like, what's going on? She's like, all I want you to do is just fight. I said, you want me to fight all these people? She said, yes. I stood in a circle. I got beat up real bad. They was fighting me. I got stabbed twice. Run right here with screwdrivers. But I ate it. After that, she took me to a house. She gave me a hug. She wiped me down, took the blood off my face. I went home. My parents said, what happened? I said, oh, I was playing basketball and we got into a scuffle. They didn't say nothing else about it. At that point, I was now Bam Bam non Trey. So I was her little blood at. She's my leader. And she just had me do different things. She'd be like, okay, go still. I went to go still. She'd like, go cut that person's face. I cut the person's face. At this point, I couldn't hide it no more. My parents knew what I was doing, but they didn't say much. Mind you, I'm the baby. So my parents are very older. My parents had me after 40. So I was doing this, I was doing that. I was having the time of my life. I was popular. People feared me. Guys liked me. Um, I end up dating this Crip guy. He was Haitian Mafia Crip. And my drop found out, and she was like, that's a no-no. She said, I need you to go to their house, take their books, and bring it back to me. I said, how am I gonna do that? He said, find out where they live. So we all went to the beach, and me and the young lady who I was under, who I adored, she said, come on, let's go to their house. We're gonna act like we wanna have sex with them, and we're gonna steal their stuff and bring it back to. So I'm like, all right. When we go there, everything went totally wrong because me and the guy, one of the young men, I was 14, she was 16. One was 18, one was 19, one was 25, 26. There was a lot of guys. We were supposed to have sex with all of them, but the thing about that was I was still a virgin. And you know, when you younger, you lie and say, "Oh, I'm not a virgin. I'm not a virgin." I was a virgin. So the only thing I could do was give oral to the guys, and I had to do that so she can go steal the stuff. They end up finding our flags. I kept my flag under my shorts, and she kept her flag under her skirt. When they found out we was blood, they locked all the doors. She was basically saying, you know, she's a virgin, leave her alone, talking about me, and they was like, they don't care about that. So they was like, I'm gonna let her go get us something to eat, but if you don't come back, you know what time it is, whatever. So I went right across the street to this Chinese restaurant on Bushwick. I got something to eat, and I came back like they told me to do. So the first instinct, everybody was telling me to run, but I realized even as a young age, I'm not gonna leave her in the house by herself. It's nothing I can do, but I'm not gonna do that. So when I came back, it seems like I was the one set up because she was having sex with them. So I looked and I'm like, you okay? You know, what's going on? She was moaning, having fun, having drinks, smoking with them. So I'm confused, like, that's not what we came to do. All right. Long story short, they ended up letting us leave. They was like, just don't do that no more. Da da da. Y'all cool, we cool, whatever. It was very weird. I went outside and I started crying because I'm like, you know, I don't understand what's going on. She was like, don't worry about it. This was a Thursday. I remember because we cut summer school. Back then, summer school was not off on Fridays. It was Monday through Thursdays. I go back to school that weekend. I guess she been trying to call me, but I've been at basketball camp. And she told me, she says, oh, we're gonna go back and get their money. Let's go to
So
the
you were balancing these two
yeah,
lives
yeah. She said, let's go back and get
and
their money.
still wanting to do basketball,
Yeah,
still wanting to do.
yeah. Because Christ the King told me I can come back if I get good grades in summer school. They said they'll give me another chance for the 10th grade. So okay, I went and she called me a Sunday and she was like, um, my parents are sending me down south. And I was like, oh no, like, no, we can't have that happen. So we came up with the plan to say that the guys raped her so her parents would feel bad and keep her here. Now, I knew something was wrong with that plan. I didn't really want to do that. She said, meet me at the precinct in a couple hours. I said, okay. I never showed up. Monday morning, all her Crip friends, I went to Benjamin Banneker. They called my name. I came out in the hallway and they all beat me. All the Crip girls beat me real bad. And they, the first thing I did, jumped up and I put the fire extinguisher on them because I'm like, what's going on? I was swollen, my mouth was busted. I'm like, what happened? She's like, you got my friend raped. I said, what? What I do? They automatically called the cops. And I couldn't understand. I'm calling her phone. She's not answering me. She's not answering me. I'm like, my mom comes. I'm confused. Like, what is she talking about? the story was, and I found out later that the cops came. I had detectives. They had on these suits. I never forget. They came to my house. This was, I'm gonna say, July. My birthday. I was 14. My birthday is July 17th. I turned 15. Detectives came to my house to speak to my dad. It was a white one, a black one, and I forget. They showed me pictures of these two gentlemen that was at the house, and they asked me, "Do I know them?" Of course, I'm gonna lie and say no, I don't know them, because you never supposed to agree with the cops. So I said, "No, I don't